Hello again, chat. Hope you are doing well. Let me deactivate a couple other things, because you'll see horrible, just gonna remove that. Activate that. Will move me back into there. And, one other place I need to do that on. Delete that one. And activate that one. Welcome back. Good to see you all. I've restarted my computer. Everything's rebooted. Reopened the game. We'll see how that goes. So, let's just try this intro one more time, then we will be back. We'll see if that fixes our problems. So, hello everyone. Welcome back to Lido History. As always, I'm Adam, your friendly neighborhood historian. We're back with Steelrising. We're going to be exploring the Louvre, talking about its history, talking about the history of the Comte de Cagliostro, and occultism in 18th century France, and mostly panicking about robots. So, if you enjoy this, do make sure you follow, and if you really like this, do consider subscribing here on Twitch. With Twitch Prime, you do get one free subscription per month, but your support is always appreciated, and will never demand money from you. So, if you really like this, the VOD will be available for 2 weeks on Twitch, and then afterwards on YouTube. But without further ado, let's get back into it. That's looking a lot smoother, chat. I have simply deactivated my fancy third-party webcam app for the time being. So we're back to using the normal camera. Hello, normal camera. And I'll figure that out in between streams. Because I did turn it up to 1080p to try and get a really good capture. So that appears to be what was the problem. Look at that! Buttery smooth. We'll see if... I may have to do some test streams in the in-between then, in order to figure out what's working on. But, for right now, we take those. So, the Louvre. The first thing is that the fact that we are able to go into the Louvre at all actually happens to give us a really precise dating on where the hell we are and when the hell we are, because right, we just crossed into the Palais de Tuileries. I'm gonna say Tuileries, and that's going to be close enough, and Ailey can laugh at me. And it, to all intents and purposes, appears to be unoccupied. Right? I think we can say here, not a whole lot going on here. Everything's looking fairly dark, looking fairly, maybe there's people moving in, or moving out, but there's not a lot of people actually living. It was a palace first, right? Yes. So the Louvre, in its modern form, is built in the mid-17th century, as the royal palatial actually, the royal palace. Ow. Heck. Heck. I got greedy. But shortly after it was constructed in the 1660s, I think, the royal palace moves from the Louvre to Versailles. So about 1680s, we move into Versailles. So this then remains kind of a guest house and or squatter's residence into the 18th century. But right in here, well, right in here things are going to get very messy because in October of the year this game is set, Louis XVI is forced out of Versailles and moves into right here. This is where he moves into. And so there's a bunch of noble apartments in the Louvre in 1789 and 1790. In 1791, they all get abandoned at speed for fairly obvious reasons. But that means we actually get a super duper precise date. Right, because we're able to say this occurs between the tennis court oaths. Ow. Fair enough. In mid-July, and the... what's his name? The tennis court oaths in mid-July, and the royal displacement in October. So literally, we are currently within, at most, a 2.5 month period between July and October 1789. Which is extremely funny that we can get that precise. I am a huge fan of being able to get that sort of precise about this. I think it does well. Okay. And then we enter... right, we just skip back here to where our mini-boss was. The Grande Galerie. Let's take a look, since I now have my phone. Actually, I've got a better plan. Let's take a look where you all can see at the layout of the Louvre and where the Grand Gallery actually is. So, look at that, right there. Open image in new tab. Well, that's not helpful, that's tiny. But that's fine. That's fine. So, this is kind of where we started. And then this garden space. We fought our way around here, through a thing that they called the Louvre Gardens, and which I guess is right here, into the Grand Gallery, and then from there, out there. We can, however, look at a much more recent map. Where is it? Wrong tab. Here's a modern tab. Right, so here's the key. The Grand Gallery is right here. And so this was the palace. Technically. Right, it's no longer no longer there. It is notably no longer there. But that's okay. Right, here was the Grand Gallery. And then we'll hopefully fight our way... I hope we fight our way inside here. So we can laugh at that stupid goddamn pyramid. The pyramid obviously does not exist yet, but we will make fun of it anyway, because it deserves to be made fun of. I'll be curious to see where it actually wants us to go. Probably up. It looks like it wants us to go up. We can't go into the palace. Which, honestly, reasonable. The pyramid is so funny. The pyramid is the most randomly modernist bit one could possibly ask for. And it's just there, and it hangs out, and then it goes kaboom. No, it doesn't actually go kaboom. But it is just there, and it hangs out, and it fits not at all with the rest of the vibe. It's quite done in that pretentious 1800s way. No, Magistressa, it's done in that highly pretentious 1960s way. Actually, when is the pyramid added in? I think it's the 1960s or later. No, later. 1989. The pyramid, the glass pyramid outside the main entrance of the Louvre, dates to 1989. Which, guess what, actually makes perfect sense? Because what's going on in museums in 1989? They are pretty universally making dumb decisions in terms of design. Right, so the like late 20th century. Where am I supposed to go? None of those doors open. Oh well. Ow. Jerk. There we go. Right, if we look at other museums built in like kind of the 70s or the 80s, 90s, and very early 2000s, we get a bunch of really dumb designs. One could think of like the Guggenheim in Bilbao. As a great example, right, I'm just not a fan of that building, but lots of... Oh, that was dumb of me. I may have possibly frozen myself solid. Feeling okay, dude? There we go. Just gonna nerd about the round things, but last episode we passed a portrait and there was a letter with it. Person who signed was actually the most influential painters of the Academy. If we're kind of backtracking a little bit, so if we see that, Ailey, do start shouting in chat. Cause that's fun. We like that. That is exactly the kind of thing we are here to gush about. But, in the meantime... Right, how many of you have heard of, Frank Gehry? Or any of, like, the big 20th century architects that are super duper duper important, in the history of architecture, but also are kind of afforded superstar status? The 1980s and 90s are a great time for museums to just start being like, yeah, let's grab them. Right, let's get these superstar architects to make things for us, and then that having made things is going to attract new visitors. The Louvre Pyramid is an example of that philosophy. Turns out it didn't work. Frank Lloyd Wright is a generation earlier, but is largely the same vibe, right? He's like the classic superstar architect, even though he's technically a bit earlier. How? So I feel like I'm supposed to get over there, and I also don't know how. I am lost. Exactly, get the trendy architecture dives to do museum stuff. Suddenly you have senseless glass pyramids in your museum. Or, in the case of our, say, the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, you end up with this giant glass tower that exists, I guess. But right, the Louvre's is kind of... You're right, it's unique in that, Exactly, Walker Art Museum is hideous, was built in 1971 by Edward Larrabee Burns. Yup, great example. I love the Walker's collections, but, yeah, it's not a particularly pleasant to look at museum. But yeah, right, O.J. Guggenheim is like the previous generation of this nonsense. Let me in! Let me in! It's not letting me in, chat. I don't think I can do a whole lot in the Louvre Gardens. Apart from die to these guys a bunch. I think I mostly just die to those guys a bunch. Can't bust through here. Because I need a tool to break that. Oh, wait! No, I need a tool to break this still. Grr. Can't do that, cat. Grr. What can I do? Okay, I can run out here. I can stand over here. I can forget that I needed to open this gate. This is the only time I've felt properly lost in this game, which is impressive. But still, I do feel properly lost right now, and I'm unsure where to go. Chat, if anyone happens to know what direction is, you know, the continuation of the plot, please do say something, because, I can't say I'm having much luck locating it right now. Never mind. We did it. I found it. I'm so good at this. Oh, stop it. You're fine. Ow. 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 Heck. That was nearly ugly. You whiffed. You did not whiff there. You did not whiff there. I'll give you that one. It looks like a Minecraft building. You're not wrong there. Oh heck, there's another one. Oh no. Ow. Damn it. What? You feeling okay? Like, ow. I'm not feeling okay after that. So much fulmination. So much fulmination. Okay. Anyway. We figured it out. We're now working our way, hopefully, from here into the interior of the Louvre. Because, you know, that'd be fun. Through the sewers, hopefully locate something, and then come up in the center of the Louvre. Because my big question, actually, like, rights-wise, we'll see. Well, Maybe this isn't a place that's gonna let me go? Maybe this is just a bit with a thing? That's weird. That's so weird. Chat, I may have gotten baited. Regardless, rights-wise, the thing I'm super duper 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 curious about is whether we'll get to see the Grand Staircase. Because, right, I mean, that is the most iconic bit of Louvre architecture, but also, it might be trademarked. But, right, as early as there has been a Louvre, there has been the Winged Victory standing on top of the Grand Staircase. And so, if they are able to portray it, that clearly is, like, probably the most... Yeah, that's an invisible wall right there. Look at that invisible wall. High quality stuff. Don't think jumping... Yep. One invisible wall later. Away we go. Alright, Chad, I got baited. Where's the plot? There's the plot. Hello, plot. Great. We're still on the wrong side of the building. We're now in what is the school. Oh. We're in what is now the school, but maybe there will be chances yet to... explore other things.
His Lordship the King's brother has answered my message. He has agreed to see me, despite the circumstances.
Oh, great.
Comte de Provence? Do you trust him?
If he still has any influence over the King, we must try. I shall leave immediately for the Luxembourg Palace.
Be careful, Antoine. I implore you. The whole quartier is ablaze.
Great. Monsieur de Rossier, I share your concerns and would be happy to put an end to them. I still intercede with the king, the brother whose soul I believe I alone can understand. Meet me tonight on the Ile aux Dames in the Luxembourg Gardens. There we will be able to speak without fear of being compromised. Louis Stanislas Javier? Comte de Provence. Well, I believe that's actually, like, a person, you know. I was not expecting a Stanislaus, but, you know, let's check. Ha. Yup. I mean, yes, that doesn't mean I'm paying attention, Ailey. Their mother is Polish. This is true. That doesn't mean I was paying attention. Because this is not my period. Right, this is not at all my period of expertise. So I was like, surprise. There should not be surprising at all, I'll be honest. Because, yeah, his mother is Maria Josefa, or Marie Joseph, but, exactly, she is the daughter of the King of Poland and Duke of Saxony, and, you know, is a great example of how, convoluted, I guess, late early modern, political alliances were among the elite. Exactly. This historical figure, chat, Louis Javier, the Comte de Provence, survives this. He is Louis the 18th, the King of France, reinstated after the overthrow of Napoleon Bonaparte. So he survives this. Monsieur Bailly, by virtue of your former duties as guardian of the collections, you occupy apartments in the Louvre that have been provided for your use free of charge. As His Majesty has decided to use the premises for other purposes, you are granted 10 days to vacate the premises. Should you choose to ignore this order, the police will be responsible for enforcing it. Comte Alexandre d'Albrecht, Vice-Chambellan des Palais Royal. This is actually a thing, right? As I said, in this period... Hey, look. Hello, Marie Antoinette. What are you doing here? In this period... the Louvre is the host of, apartments, both for visiting guests and for, people in the king's favor who were not part of the royal court at Versailles. Bailly, by virtue of, being an astronomer in charge of the Louvre's collections, is entirely reasonable that he'll be granted one of these apartments. But the 4 other purposes might mean plot nonsense. Right, other purposes here might mean plot nonsense. It might also mean that we are actually closer to October, when he is forced, the king and the royal court are forced to flee into the apartments here. Well, camera. Flee into these apartments because, yeah, turns out. Really? Did I just miss it the whole time? Am I a fool? I walked in here. God, I'm so dumb. Oh well. Fine. Can't believe I missed that, but that's fine. They gave us multiple routes for a reason. What? What is the doggo doing here? Oh well, I got derailed on the thought. We might be close to that October date when Louis XVI moves back into the Louvre apartments, and the royal court moves from Versailles to here. That is where that thought was going. That is all. The end. So let us instead explore these, and hopefully we can get from these into the actual collections. Because I would love to see the real collections of the Louvre on view here. That sounds so cool. That would be so cool.
Monsieur, this is the last time we shall meet. From now on, we shall do without your help. Eh bien, are you waiting for an invitation to leave?
Wow.
Your Majesty, dare we ask what brought this disgrace upon us?
The Count's work has given me complete satisfaction.
Hey,
Your
look.
essences and optics are no longer of any use to us.
Rejoice, learned scholars. You may now dedicate yourselves to the cause of the Va-Nu-Pieds.
Just a moment. Are we being rebuked for our actions at the Estates General? But Your Majesty, you are the one who convened this assembly.
Leave here at once, monsieur, before you say anything you might regret.
Da da da. Da da da. This is, you put forward that maybe we should have been naming King something other than Louis once in a while? I mean, Charles. But also, we've been naming them Louis for so long. Are you going to take away that tradition now? I mean, honestly. Right. Since the beginning, we've been naming them Louis. Right? Because Louis is Clovis. Louis is a late and altered form of the name of one of the legendary... Heck. Ow. So if I'm here again, where does this actually put me? I feel like I have just gone in a circle. I feel like I've gone in a circle I was not supposed to go on. Oh, never mind. We were actually supposed to go up here. Incredible. Because from here, we can go down here and through that door. Amazing work, team. We're so good at video games. Platforming. Don't aggro on me. You don't need that. Heck. I was doing so good too. We're still so good. And now we can open up this gate to get another heal box. Hello, heal box. I should activate this one. That's just smart. Ah, I dodged that. I did not dodge that. Hooray! Where do we end up in here? Hello, broken door. Hello, broken door. I want to see the Grand Staircase, because the Grand Staircase is very old. I think Louis the 14th is the one who establishes the Grand Staircase. Ow. Yeah, that's reasonable. Yep. Well. But yeah. I don't remember the exact dates, but I want to say it's like the 1750s, as the Louvre's royal collections start to be opened up more and more to the public. That part of the goal, that Louis the 14th has, is to make it a monument to, you know, well, French national glory. And so the winged victory at the top of that big giant marble staircase is that. Hey, wait. Isn't this the right corner of the build? No. I am discombobulated. Let's see, so that side should be the palace, right? If that side's the palace, that's destroyed. Yeah. So this should be the marble staircase should be through that door. What does Louis mean again? It's a form of the name Clovis. So, which is the name of Charlemagne, well, one of the first Merovingian kings. The Palais de Louvre. That's a staircase, but that's not the staircase. Yeah. Louis is just Clovis under a different sound changes. Well, you're looking good, my man. Something very painful happened here. Heck. Yeah, Ludwig is also Clovis. Louis and Ludwig are the same. Ludwig. German Ludwig. Etc, etc. So, heck. We got an enemy. Fine, Monsieur Bailly. Well, alright. Ow. Phase 2. Oh, heck. Let me pop one of these real quick. Ow. Ow. We got the freeze! Yo! We'll see if I can burn an entire, Oh god, they have fulmination too. Heck. Have an explosive grenade. That seems fine. That seems helpful. Graceful. Come on. More force. Got it. Easy. Easy. And now we get another historical figure.
A horde of assassins. Death itself encased in an iron shell. Flee! Gentlemen, flee! While there is still time!
There. You are no longer in danger.
Ludia? Are you the one who has released me from this nightmare? But how? Did your master send you?
My name is not Ludia, monsieur. I'm called Aegis, and I serve only the Queen.
A pauvre enfant. Ludia. Aegis. And yet I fear that you are neither.
It is of no importance, monsieur. I have a mission to accomplish. Where is Monsieur de Vaucanson hiding?
He is hiding, as you say, in a cell in the Bastille prison. Shackled
Exciting.
hand and foot.
Oh, we get to storm the
That is how
Bastille.
our good king has decided to reward his most faithful servant.
Oh, we get to
As
storm
for
the
you, my
Bastille. Oh,
child,
I'm so excited.
I can't be sure, but I think there is a truth you must uncover. Find your way to Monsieur de Vaucanson's home. It is in the Faubourg Saint-Germain, east of the Invalides. Here is the key to the gate. When we meet again, we will have the answers we seek.
Your
Amazing.
colleague, Monsieur Lavoisier. Do you know where he is?
He went to the Palais de Luxembourg, despite the danger.
Uh-huh.
Why?
He hoped to convince the Comte de Provence to speak to his brother, the king, and have Eugène de Vaucanson released from prison.
Peter,
But he
what
hasn't
would
been
possibly
seen
give you
since,
that idea?
nor given any sign of life.
Your colleague, Monsieur Lavoisier.
He went to the...
Why?
He hoped to and have... But he hasn't been...
What did you see and hear before you regained consciousness?
What could possibly give you the idea that us,
I don't know how
speaking,
to describe
talking, and looking exactly like Eugène de Vaucanson's daughter,
I
will give you that vibe?
Et puis... it's all a blur. A poisonous feeling of destructive power. Somewhere between a dream and reality. Orders whispered in my ear. Poor, terrified people falling at my hand. I don't know if I was given some powerful drug, or if my mind was truly lost in the ether. If this is the case, the phenomenon should be studied. But can it be reproduced? For now, I will attempt to reach the safe haven where those who oppose the king swore
Come
together.
on, Chad, only
in
one
hopes
person
that
voted?
Any of them escaped the massacre.
We have a dash. Oh, we have a dash. Well, that was... Is that fast? Is that fast? I'm persuaded that that's fast. Anyway, whoever it was who voted in the poll, gets the brownie points. Obviously no. Yeah. Yeah, so, as I'm sure Ailey knows, the Monsieur Bailly does not survive this. He does survive the events of this game. He will, however, be executed in 1793. Unlucky. Unlucky. Yep, I think that's probably its... I think that's probably its main use. Right, is that we can use it to cross gaps. But it's overall not terribly tall. Terribly large or fast. And we notably have no winged victory. How tragic. Hey look, and now we get to practice. Well, it actually has pretty good distance, it just doesn't look like it. Oh god. Instead of a winged victory, we have whatever the heck that is. That's nice. I like that. That's less nice. I don't know that I like that. I like the chandelier. But that's just a lot. Ow. My ankles. You would think that being a robot would at least get something resembling shock absorbers. But no. No shock absorbers for us. We do have another improvement though. And I do like that. do that. More armor. Less damage. More survivability. Ooh, not a fan of bad-faced wallman? No. Oh. I'm glad we're all in agreement on that front. Okay, so. That was the Louvre. I guess. Hooray. And now I just have to get out of here alive. Which is... maybe not as easy as it seems. But maybe easier than it seems. When you just use it to dash at an enemy... oh wow! That does a lot of damage. So we can do that, and then we can also do... oh. That. Oh wow! Yeah, that's a lot of damage. Yoink. We can go up. Oh. I'm bad. I'm bad at platforming. I'm bad at everything. We can make that, and then we go over here and dash through here. Now we're back in the Louvre apartments. I wonder if that we can go through here. Unlock? Still don't have his key. Let me have our key. I think there was another door, like, here, below us, somewhere, that also required a key. The thing is, right, it looks like we're not done with the area, because there's other doors that we are supposed to be able to unlock, but can't. Kaboom. Like this one. So there are still chances for us to, in the future, discover the Grand Staircase and the Winged Victory. But for right now, the Louvre has failed us and lacks the big guns, you know? But that is okay. We have looked at it. We have gotten some history out of it. We have made fun of the dumb glass pyramid from the late 1980s. And honestly, that is all I could ask for. What could I possibly ask for besides that? I think I want to upgrade... I have 5 module keys. So I could either upgrade one of these to be able to get a third one, or I could do that and get a top rank thing. I'm just saying. We've got a lot of grade 2 modules. Flame resistance, fulmination resistance, will to live, stable charging. What does respite do? Aegis's endurance is restored by half. Efficient countering, reinforced armor, unstable essence, frost catalyst, fight or flight mode, critical repair, longevity, efficient ventilation. Yeah, I think we stick with that. I think we stick with that right now. We also have some options here. Palais de Luxembourg, Milbo. What are my main quests? Go to the Palace of Luxembourg. Alright, we got some options. We got some options here. A note. Okay, that one, Jacques-Louis David. And, here, Monsieur Balsamo. So, this is a great time, as we're gonna start doing side questy stuff, looks like. Because I want to take a look at, well, both of these. To that end, I believe we need to visit La Cité briefly. Monsieur Balsamo is the Comte de Cagliostro. Cagliostro is a pseudonym that he appears to have taken after a relative who was not a countess or anything of the sort, just simply had the name Cagliostro. His actual name is Giuseppe Balsamo. And he is a charlatan of the highest order. Like, holy moly. This man did a lot. Ow. Heck. Don't be like this. See? Don't be like this. Ow. Hell. Of course he's in Fate. Why would he not be in Fate? Like, come on. That was the most Fate-like statement one could possibly have. A super famous celebrity occultist? Like, come on. You have to be crazy to have him not be here. Hey look, found him. De la Far.
Monseigneur? Monseigneur, you visited the Marquis de Mirabeau to administer his last rites.
That's right. What of it?
Did he tell you anything about his son?
Please, not another word. I heard this man's confession, and am therefore bound by the strictest secrecy. There are no exceptions to canon law in this matter.
Tragic. Alright. Fine. Fine. I guess. Wow. Stefan, you just made me feel extremely old. Extremely quickly. Well done. You know like nothing about Fate except it's a Genshin-alike that just uses historical people. Like, holy moly, never have I felt so out of touch with the youths than I do right now. Wait, where is Mirabeau? Where is Mirabeau? Huh? Was he supposed- oh, heck, was he supposed to be up there? He may be at the Societe. Well, yo, it's not just about being old. It's not just about being old. It's about being old and perennially online. See. Bye. Oh, heck. Let's try that again, this time with feeling. Bye. No, he's not still here. He's not here. But it also didn't say... Alright, nope, not here. Whee! Stop it. Hooray. Oh well. I guess let's go to Envalie then. And we'll see if that helps. Anyway. KJ, there's uses the internet and then there's being online TM. And you don't strike me as someone who's online TM. You work in tech, and that is enough to make you very, afraid. And understandably so. Very privacy concerned. Let's phrase it. That's blocked. Which, for the record, I don't think is bad. I think that's good. But still. It is notable. Where am I supposed to get... I wonder where this door... Oh. I think I could go over. Hello. There we go. Let's try that again. Is this supposed to be where Vulcan's on? Oh. Hooray! Well, that was a good fight. I feel proud of that. Good job, team. We fought someone and got benefits from that, question mark? I'm unsure we actually got benefits from that, but we definitely unlocked it. We definitely put in a good shot. Saint-Germain. I don't know the layout of France well, or of Paris well enough to be like, ah yes, I am clearly going the wrong direction, or I am clearly going the correct direction. Because this didn't actually lead to a whole lot, though. It was just like a cool fight. And like, I like cool fights, but that's not really what I was here for. So I guess we need to backtrack through L'Enveli. Until we locate what we need to do for the side quest. That seems fine. Alright, Ailey. Have a good rest, my friend. And while we are running around, I want to talk more about Cagliostro. Because Cagliostro is wild. It is one of the places where we are having a noticeable divergence from history. That he is still kicking around. Right, overall, I would say, apart from, you know, the robots, by and large, they're doing a good job on picking people who are around at this time. And are... in anyway, like, the right people to be have involved with this, right? Like, sure. Bailly is, right, a lot of the figures we're seeing are, important figures to him, right? Lavoisier, Bailly, etc., etc. Right, these are all important figures to him. But, at the same time, at the same token, that doesn't necessarily, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because, I mean, I would love to see more figures that are, like, less capital H historical, so we could see just more generally interesting things in how other people are reacting to this, rather than having historical figures, robots, and people in houses. But at the same token, as long as we're here, they're doing a good job, right? Like, these are figures that are, broadly speaking, around in this time period. And are very much involved in the events of this time. And they are portraying them in ways that are consistent with how the texts, right, how their own text writings describe them, and make them reasonably likable people. Cagliostro is kind of the one major exception, because he's the, I guess he's the person who is needed in order to make the whole gimmick work. Which, you know, fair enough. But in this period, Cagliostro is not having a good time, because he's a little bit... he's a little bit in jail. In Rome. Turns out trying to do heresy and set up Freemason, quasi-Freemason cults in Rome tends to get people excited. And not the people that you want to be excited by that, i.e. People with a lot of money and very little sense. Now, it tends to get cardinals who are loyal to the Pope excited. You don't want that to happen. That goes poorly. So yeah, he's in, by 1789 he is in jail, and he will die in jail in 1795. But, despite this noted ahistoricity of he is not in jail in Rome, otherwise, it actually does a fairly good job. Because Cagliostro is extremely popular throughout the 1780s and just hops around Europe, as people alternately adore him and throw lots of money at him, and then realize he's a scammer and ban him from the royal courts. You know, as you do. I feel like I'm getting awfully far away from where I'm supposed to go. Ow. So yeah, like, he spent some time in the Russian court, and Catherine II of Russia is like, maybe leave, or I'll send you to Siberia, because I'm, like, classic Russian maneuver right there. And so he bails, and then he goes to Poland and is received well there, and then goes back to England for like the 4th time, and is received reasonably well there. And then goes back from there to France in kind of the fall of 1785. And Cagliostro's whole shtick is effectively that he is resurrecting an ancient Egyptian variety of Freemasonry. The biography, I found a biography of him, open access, from 1903, that draws a specific parallel between him and Madame Blavatsky, of, you know, the Theosophists. And it was very amusing to me that they were like, oh, yeah, Theosophy looks an awful lot like this heresy, doesn't it? The answer is yes, yes it does. So... as he sets up these sort of cults, he actually has 2 variant cults. He has one that is just, you know, people, that is kind of open to everyone, but mostly men, and then one that his wife ran, that is specifically targeting noble women. In 1785, Cagliostro's devotees included, but were not limited to, de Polignac. And it was rumored, because of course there were terrible rumors all the time, because 18th century France lived on rumors. It was rumored that Marie Antoinette and Cagliostro were having an affair. Or at least that one of them was besotted with the other one. Which one was which? Not set. But you know, one of them was clearly besotted with the other one. And that makes perfect sense, don't question it. So yeah, I mean, the utter elites of the French court are the people we're looking at here. And that goes great for a while. And then he gets thrown in the Bastille in 1786. Turns out he's, like, not... It was on false charges. Someone threw him under the bus for their own plot. Well, and he was not actually involved with it, but he's still... your stardom tends to collapse in this period if you get thrown in the Bastille. I know, it's just shocking. So, that kind of marks the end of his high point. And he moves from then briefly back to England, gets kicked out of England, thinks about where else he can go, realizes that there aren't a lot of places, because Russia, Poland, Spain, England, and France all kinda stopped liking him. So he tried to go to Rome. At which point, the papal court got very excited and threw him in jail. And then he died. The end. Turns out that's not much of a story. So, yeah. The game makes this notable deviation to say, what if... Ow. That was dumb of me. What if instead of, you know, being thrown in jail and then dying, he became really popular in the French royal court, even more popular, I should say, and became confidant to the king. Also, you know, small deviation, what if all of his nonsense about souls and being able to see the future, predict stuff, and otherwise do occultism was real? Because of course, the French court really wanted occultism to be real. Can't entirely say I blame them either. Everyone was super hyped on, right, occultism, secret powers, all sorts of stuff. Being like, yeah, what else can we... I guess, yeah, what else can we do here? What else is there around? What else... What are all the other fun and exciting things that are possible here, combining spiritual traditions and complex ideas about the soul with our new rationality and scientific method? It's all over the place, everyone's super into it, and if they claim they're not super into it, they're lying. Just for the record. Anytime they say they are not super into it in the 18th century, there are skeptics, but for the most part there are liars. Apologies. Ah, heck. I froze myself solid. That was dumb of me. Cagliostro, I'm bored. I think I'll start a cult. You joke, but that's actually pretty close to what happens. Right, he's born in Palermo, in Sicily, and then is, at a relatively young age, orphaned, and so makes his way, on the streets. And being on the street now, rude. Right, being on the streets, he basically learns to be a con artist. And then, as he starts to gain a little bit of notoriety, he flees first to Messina, and then later to England, where he appears to come across something. It's not clear what. It's not clear exactly what books he comes across, but he does come across books that give him the idea of going into this, like, Freemason cult and setting himself up that way for success. Bye. Ow. 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 You done? Honestly. Nope. Well, that's not it either. Eventually I'll find this gate. Man's got a D&D murder hobo cleric rogue backstory? Unironically, yes. He kind of actually does. Like, because he tours around, and then they go, oh yes, let us flee, and then be inducted into the Freemasons somehow, and then instead of being a good Freemason, instead creates his own cult that is much more Egyptian flavored. And equally nonsense. And then from there, be like, oh yes, what else can we do? I don't know. Scam all of the royal courts of Europe. Repeatedly. For about 20 years. And then get thrown in jail and die. Like all D&D murder hobos eventually do. They get caught, they get thrown in jail, and then they die. Which is I mean, 'tis the period. Well, actually, it's not super the period. 'Tis soon to be the period. But, you know, let's tie these two threads together. What does Egyptian flavor taste like in this period? As it turns out, something very, very important about the conception of Egypt in this period is that this is basically when our world histories arbitrarily decide that Egypt is part of our, like, ow, rude. That Egypt is one of our great histories that we should pay attention to. This will become to be reflected in royal museological collections, like in the Louvre, by the separation of Egyptian art from art taken from African colonies. That obviously becomes more true about a generation after this, when we are running around, when there's the scramble for Africa, as it is commonly called. But even so, like, still very much, very, very much a real and present thing in this period too. No, seriously, I wish I knew where I was going. Like, I do not, for the life of me, remember where they said the Vaucanson was. Like, I got a key. In Faubourg Saint-Germain. Okay. Well, glad all that running around was basically grinding. Right? Basically, I just accidentally did some grinding. Oops. That's fine. let's take advantage of the fact that we have done some grinding to get ourselves some levels. I guess another vigor. Meh. Meh. Nah, more agility. Also, I need bronze ingots for that. Boo. Bronze ingots for a bunch of this stuff. Yeah. I need bronze ingots and I can only get a little bit of it. Like I can buy one, but then I'm basically out of room. Anyway, since we're supposed to actually apparently be here. Now, that suggests to me that this was the building I wanted this whole time, and it just didn't register for reasons. Ow. Jerk. Okay. So if this was the building I was supposed to go to the whole time, I will be annoyed. But also, I don't really see a path in. I'm just saying. That door is blocked. That door is blocked. And that door is blocked. So, that's not working. There's nothing here. And I need to be able to bust that down to get over into here. So, I do not have that. Yeah, so I guess I just can't do the side quest yet. That's reasonable. Well, hope you at least enjoyed me rambling while we are waiting to go to our new area. Oh well. Let's go. Follow Monsieur. Characters, Miabo is here, which is great. We're gonna take a look at that side quest, and then we're gonna do a bunch of stuff. Okay, hopefully after we beat the next boss, we'll get the power to bust down those doors, and then we'll have loads of places to go, because there's a ton of things that we can get to once we can bust down those small doors. Which is good.
Monsieur Lavoisier hopes to have Eugène de Vaucanson released from prison. I must find him and help him convince the Comte de Provence.
Okay. I will say, I have no idea how well this maps, or this street layout maps onto the historical Paris. My guess is, apart from like very general terms, not super well. Like that's just, it's in the vicinity and not a smidge closer. But that is okay, because the level design is actually extremely good here. Right? Huge verticality, really fun to navigate. Full of jerks. I don't know what its deal is. I don't want to know what its deal is. I just don't want a part of it. I just don't want a part of whatever that is. Just no thank you.
I've said it once, and I'll say it again. A constitution is the only thing that can protect us from royal will.
Hey,
That's
constitutionalist.
most urgent. Bon sang. What the hell are you doing, Camille?
As you can see, I'm preparing to leave this place. Terroigna and Brissot should have joined us more than 2 hours ago.
Are you going to abandon them to their fate?
Just think for a moment, Sayez. If they've been arrested, they'll be tortured. And if they reveal that we're here, in Terragna's salon, the king's assassins will soon be streaming in. I want to see my wife and daughter again. Attendez-vous?
Je vous en prie, Camille. Let's wait just a little longer.
Soit. We'll wait a little longer. Let us pray that your kind heart doesn't get us both killed.
Knock knock. Knock knock. Hello. Let me talk to them. Tragic. Let me in, I want to say hello. Oh. The Quartier de Théâtre Français. Alright. Icarus! Thank you for the 7 months of Prime subscription. How is the game so far? I am loving the game so far. This game is super duper fun, and honestly, is one of my favorite historical games of this year. There's a couple reasons for that. Reason one, it seems to really strongly know what it wants to be, which we just love to see, right? I don't need it to be the most thrilling, elaborate, perfectly best guess reconstruction of what the period is, if it really knows what it wants to be. And what it really wants to be is a pretty nuanced, a pretty reasonable old history of what happens if robots ruin the French Revolution. But also, when we do have...
The automat that wrought so much death on this place was driven by an unusual thirst for destruction.
Heck. Nate. Ah! Ah! Thing 2, Icarus, that is great about this game, is that the combat is extremely fun. Oh. Right, a bunch of really good thought out abilities. A really good enemy variety. Not enormous enemy variety, but like really solid enemy variety. That's just fun to see. There's a lot to like when we have this much variety and tweaking the enemies just a little bit and generally making sure that there's something interesting going on in a lot of these combat encounters. Now, interesting also means that they're all scary, but I think they're supposed to be all scary, at least to me, the player. Really awesome combat abilities. The fact that this dude's like rocking around with the home run bat is just massive, massive stuff for him. But there we go. More enjoyable things. Improved explosive grenade. Well, I do love the sound of that. The thing I am not doing, that I should, by the way, is actually making my quick access build not be bad. I mean, petrification is fine. Not really feeling those. But let's say, I don't know, maybe we throw the fulmination nades in here. So we actually have more options on how to go about making fun. Sir. Get out here. Sir. No. Absolutely not. Organ Man! My goodness, it's so... It's so enjoyable to be running around this. And, right, I mean, yeah, this is a fairly, rubbish, you know, place to exist in. Right, I'd say broadly not the most enjoyable place to just, like, be forced to exist in. Oh, that just puts me right back here. Well, that was silly. But luscious environments, gorgeous music, just a lot to love about this game. And the last, by the way, since as I try and finish up that thought, it's mechanically super. So overall, right, it knows what it wants to be. The mechanics are quite fun. And then the third thing is that where it does do historical figures, well, I wish it did more, and more diverse people, or more diverse types of people, it does them really quite well. Right? Oh heck, I got the sneak attack on someone who was not sneaked. Or the immobilization attack on the someone who is not immobilized, I should say. No. Wow. Yeah, that's bad. Hurrah. So, right, I mean, the moment I think I fell in love with this game properly was when we were talking to Monsieur de la Fa and Raibon. And they, like, actually dealt with some of the difficulties and nuances of this period. Right, and, right, well, how does a religious figure perceive this thing? And then we can contrast how De La Fa understands what happened to him, being turned into a robot, with how Bailly understood it as a comparatively secular, I will not say secular, but comparatively secular person, keeper of royal collections, broadly speaking, right, someone very much engaged with a lot of the scientific trends of the period, and broadly speaking, I think more skeptical of the less than scientific trends of the period. I wonder if I could just buy a couple more here while I'm in the area. I do have 3 of those. Just saying. That gives me plenty to buy. It's just shy of being able to do what I wanted to. Boo. We may be able to sell some stuff to be useful with that. Like, I'm not doing a lot with these petrification grenades. So maybe if I do that, that will leave me with enough to upgrade another one of these. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Amazing.
No, and no, monsieur. I order you not to. As long as I am alive, you will not set foot outside.
Do you intend to keep me in your cursed inn forever? That's a strange way to treat a customer, chère madame.
I want to keep you alive, mon ami.
I'll be reasonable. The machines have gone. You can see the coast is clear.
There's no way. You are not going through that door until I say so.
Oh, so what did I do to deserve this?
What did I do to deserve this?
Pardonnez-moi.
Oh!
Grand Dieu! Well, wasn't I right, cher monsieur?
Shh, will you hold your tongue? Do you want to get us all killed now?
Do not fear. I have no intention of harming you.
Da da da. Talk.
I just want a word, je vous prie.
Ah. Well, we are a likable protagonist, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone's terrified of us except major historical figures here. Not sure what to make of that little tidbit, but it is true. Everyone, the only people who don't hate us are major historical figures. And people who we got to talk to long enough to persuade us that we were actually okay. Hey, bud. Bye, bud. You will say this is a really clever way of saving on having to do character animation? I agree. But it's not... Right. It is certainly like a really clever way of avoiding having to animate a bunch of like NPC characters, but as from a historical argumentative perspective, it very much disembodying everyone who is not sufficiently important is a choice. I think really all I can say coming off of that is, it's just a reminder that really, at the end of the day, nothing is going to be a totally, neutral, unproblematic choice. Ow. Jerk. Well, I kind of rolled it, though. Well, it's a jerk. I did a little bit completely steamroll it. But yeah. Anyway, let's keep elaborating on that thought, because I think that thought's fun. Right, this game, I think, in that choice of having to save on character animation, and solving that problem by putting everyone who is not a major figure inside a house, so they do not have to have a body, and you can just record lines for them, and then it's fine, is completely understandable. But also is a choice that ends up having ideological consequences. And so the answer here is, of course, they made a bad choice. I think there's room for people to be disappointed in that choice, and at the same time room for people to be really pleased with that choice and go like, hey, that's smart design right there. Both statements are true. What it really is just a reminder that when we're making historical games and when we're talking about historical games, there's no such thing as a neutral ow. Oh heck, I got parried. I got absolutely dumpstered by this guy. There's our nice long-range one. Ow. Alright. Now we're good. But yeah. Did that thought seem complete to people? I kind of got distracted by having to fight people. Sum up again, right, the decision is not invalid, it is just one that has consequences, and we should be able to acknowledge those consequences without, therefore, necessarily going, yes, bad game. The related question, what are the biggest pitfalls for low-budget historical games? I think the single biggest one is scope, right? Pretty indisputably, I think, the single biggest error you can make is not having a good sense of what your scope looks like. And so being like, oh yes, let us make much too large wait, heck, I can focus on the other one now. God, what a brutal set of fights these are. Holy moly. Ow. That should freeze you in place, which is great. Ow. There's one. And there's two. Well, good fight, good fight. So, let's elaborate on what I mean by scope. So, right, ooh. Is that a new weapon I see? Well, well, well. Excellent. Excellent stuff right there. So, yeah. Words. As always, words are my enemy these days. We'll do our best we can, though. If you are making a game that tries to do a perfect reconstruction of a historical period, you are going to fail at doing that. That is not something that is possible, as hopefully Kingdom Come Deliverance is demonstrating beautifully. That's one of the goals of the Kingdom Come Deliverance playthrough, so hopefully it is managing to demonstrate the ways in which, even with good intentions, and really trying to make the best game that you can, it's just not possible to make one that is fully, like, present, accurate, and gets every nuance of the time period. So if that's your goal, that should not be your goal, right? Don't set your goal to be impossible, because then you're gonna fail. I don't like your scope creep up to the point that that becomes your goal, right? Make a smaller game, present one historical moment, one historical argument, one historical idea, and try and do that thoroughly. And then you're done, right? Then you make the game and you're done. This is what I would say is probably mid-budget, right? This is kind of a... This is kind of like the definition of a AA game. It's not by no means AAA, and there's some fun workarounds that are a consequence of the fact that it's not AAA, but it's also not low budget. So I put it alongside like Plague Tale Innocence, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, some of those as being kind of the AA historical games. For a full indie team, right, stylization is going to be your friend. You can't really do something like this. The quantity of animation required just for Aegis alone is probably fairly cost prohibitive. Right? Like, there's a lot of animation and a lot of style that's going into this. So, we're focusing on a much smaller project, then you can instead be like, okay, yeah, here's our historical argument. Whether that's a visual argument, a mechanical argument, all of the above, whatever. You're making one argument, your game makes the argument, and then you're done. Oh, that's an invisible wall. That's great. Thing number 2 that you need to be careful of, let me think on that, because that's all, scope is the biggest one. But I think, right, one of the second biggest ones is just not really knowing what your vision is, and so, right, you're setting a game in a historical period because you want a theme. Right, this is the thing board games will do a lot, is that the mechanics and the theme are completely disjointed. If you are trying to make a historical game, you should probably focus in on how do your mechanics and theme intersect. You know, I should not be running back through here. That was worth it, though. Heck. Heck. I just really shouldn't be here. So yeah, right, I mean, that's more my personal taste. There are plenty of games that use historical skins that are probably quite fine and fun to play. Actually, I know some of them. Something like City of Brass is very much in that camp. But, if you want to make your game historical in a more substantive sense, then, you know, we gotta do things a bit differently. Bye. Rolled. Absolutely dumpstered. Alright, Dildrum. Have a good night, my friend. Thank you as always for being here, saying hello. But yeah. Let's get one more good thing of, like, workable, meaningful advice, because I do like my criticisms to always at least be vaguely actionable, and something that is reasonable and takes into account, what is possible. I guess the third one is keep an eye on what your things do, and do not, right, what do your mechanical decisions do, intend, and what do they not intend, and trying to account for what they don't intend. Because, right, it's not, I mean, it's not reasonable at all to be like, oh yes, every historical game must fully integrate its historical argument into one cohesive whole. Right, mechanics, visuals, gameplay, narrative, all of the above, music must all represent a single coherent historical argument. No, that's not how that works. No one does that. However, we should at least be attempting to take into account, right? Well, does this say things about the period, and who and what we consider important about the period that we don't intend? And if it does, what can we do to compensate for that? Right? Ow. Heck. We froze him. I didn't realize we got in a freeze zone. That was dumb of me. Exactly. Trying to account for unintended arguments. Make sure that your arguments at least kind of follow what you're intending to accomplish. And make sure that you're paying attention to who gets excluded by your arguments. Right? And argument is a word that does a lot of work there. Decisions would also work. More or less the same. But we'll call them arguments anyway, because we are historians. We love nothing more than being just a little bit pretentious. Right. Okay. I have everything I need to upgrade my frosted fans again. I'm just short a little bit of material. Luckily, I got both of those. Warrior spirits, perfect. Boom. Upgrades. Weapons, level 4. Boom. I need another bronze ingot, but from... I'm gonna buy it from here, and then we're gonna upgrade that again. Exactly, we're historians, we love nothing more than arguments. Especially when it's not quite coherent, and it's a bit scuffed, and everyone gets confused as to what the fuck we mean. I mean, that is the dream right there. That is the ideal circumstance for us. It's not. Outreach is good. Writing in a way that is accessible is good. But we all know historians who do love making their things a bit silly. What then is the historical argument of this game? Phenomenal question. There are several. There are, in fact, several historical arguments going on at the same time. We'll talk about them after this cutscene happens.
Monseigneur? Monseigneur, where are you?
Well, that's not who we wanted to have show up.
Seize him!
Well,
Cagliostro, may you burn in hell! Lock him up!
well,
Monsieur Lavoisier has fallen into a trap. His captors probably took him to the Palais du Luxembourg.
sorry, we are pausing for just a second. What is the historical argument of this game? Stefan, we could roll this into 2, right? You could simply redeem a thing and then I could actually write it down in a way that's actually recorded. Because, yeah, I think we can break it into several arguments. Boom. It has been done. We have a redemption of a design diatribe. This is your first time watching the VOD or live. What that means is we're going to click over to another page, and we're going to come over here, and we're going to spend some time over in this Google Doc. Talking about the question, what is /r the historical arguments of Steelrising? this is a chance for you, watching, to make me talk about something intersecting about history and game design of your choice. The only restriction is that it has to be about the game we are actually playing on the day of the stream. So, don't make me talk about Assassin's Creed while we're playing Kingdom Come Deliverance. That's mean. We don't like that. However, let's put on some music, because the Steelrising soundtrack rules. We're gonna see what we can do here. Perfect. We have a 2-hour soundtrack. That should be plenty of time. Voila. And chat, this is participatory. As you can see, you are sitting here on screen. And what that means is, right, you are... Please do chime in. And we'll kind of work together on this. So. Exactly, Rat. The reason why we didn't stream that game today is because I need more time to look into criminal justice and investigation, because that's going to be the big historical topic of that stream. So. Our historical arguments are... If I can get this pop-up out of the way, thank you. There are several. So, there's a few ways we can get about this, right? Let's lay some groundwork. What makes up a historical argument? Right? Mechanics, obviously. World design, that should be fairly obvious. Aesthetics / graphical style. We'll put a question mark on this one because sometimes this does, sometimes it doesn't. It depends a little bit on the game and what other aspects of the design are going for as to whether you think that can incorporate it. Same deal, music. Question mark. Right? I'm hard-pressed to say the music that's playing right now is particularly making a historical argument. It's not even making a historical reference. Some of the other music that plays, though, definitely does. Narrative definitely does. Characters, we'll make that a subset of narrative, but it definitely also does. And yeah, I think that's enough to get started with, right? These are probably the main things, right? Mechanics, world design, narrative. The three, naturally, these I think anyone will tell you are probably the three basic pillars of modern, right, game design, period. Whether narrative is emergent or not, right, realistically, you're not having a modern video game without some combination of these three existing, so it shouldn't be a surprise that these are also the pillars that make up gaming historical arguments. Now, what's not a historical argument? The big thing here is references. Creating a reference to something does not a historical argument make. Great example of this is the music. Right, listen to what's playing right now. That is 18th century style. Harpsichord, chamber violins, we've got a cello on it, or possibly a viol. We could still be running with a viol da gamba. I think more likely it's a cello. And then I would not be shocked if a flute comes in a little while. But we're working very much, right, this is very much a Mozart-inspired track. Well, Mozart is right in this period, that makes a whole lot of sense. But that's not a historical argument. All that says is, hey look, we have a vague understanding of what 18th century music sounds like. That's not an argument, that's a reference. So, references alone do not make up arguments. References can be evidence to help support arguments, but they are not intrinsically that. To that end, let's take a look at what I think some of the historical arguments are and the evidence that supports them. As always, a big rule, right, capital rule, of this is all arguments should be supported by a mix of evidence. Right, if all of the mechanical stuff is pointing towards one thing, great, you can make an argument out of that. But the strongest arguments are going to be cases where mechanics and narrative and world design all end up intersecting to kind of point at the same thing. Those are going to be the strongest historical arguments and the ones that most people are going to agree with, right? So, to that end, argument 1. Let us actually make a bulleted list. Nah, let's make a numbered list. So, argument 1, the French Revolution was in pursuit of noble ideas, and I'll even add but it was led by virtuous people despite its violent ends. So what is the evidence that supports this one? Evidence 1, NPCs, right? Everyone we talk to at length is a friend. And, point B, allies in games suggest moral rectitude. Right? Broadly speaking, just due to the nature of the player character, a lot of games are afraid of making the player character unlikable. This is by and large a reasonable fear. Don't make your people complete jerks. Right? But what that means is that the people that like our main character like us, and we like them. Games can definitely do interesting things with this to subvert it, but we're going to emphasize that this is very often it suggests moral rectitude. Right? We are the good guys. We are fighting alongside the good guys. The good guys include Lafayette, De La Fa, Bailly, Raymond, etc. To a lesser extent, we can add Marie Antoinette and Gabriel de Polignac to this, but we haven't seen them since the first cutscene, so it's a bit iffy. Lafayette, right? All of these characters, despite their diverse viewpoints, are united by being relatively democratic, or we'll call it small r Republican, right? Important figures in early revolution, absent from / victims of the Reign of Terror. Right? I think this one's a key one. If we're looking at who we're looking at, they are either people who get executed during the Reign of Terror, like Bailly, or they're people who wash their hands of the whole affair and just, like, go into exile, Lafayette, Monseigneur de la Fare. Right? So they're not participating in the ultra-violence of 1792 to 1794, right? They're really not engaging with this, like, wave of ultra-violence, that is the Reign of Terror. And to that end, we don't have to ask too many messy questions of these people. These people are, by and large, insofar as relatively elite 18th century men can be good people, they're fairly good people. So, you know, that one really, really does that. Point B in favor of this. Louis the 16th fucking sucks. Like, addendum, Cagliostro is comically evil. Right, Cagliostro is comically horrible. Stefan, I would note Robespierre has only shown up in one cutscene so far, and he was in the terrible bad news department. Right? Robespierre has shown up in one cutscene from the tennis court oaths, and he showed up briefly and has never been seen since, in the Dark World. The IRL Cagliostro was not based, he was a scammer. I mean, right, you gotta respect the confidence, but man, he had a lot going on. So. Thing number 3 in this, we are good because we don't kill people. Right, here's where we get into world and level design. We don't. Everyone we fight are robots. It's the royalty that are out of touch, using dehumanizing language and shoving souls into robots. Barry Mike, he did mostly scam rich people, and he did make a big show about giving away vast amounts of wealth to people on the streets. So you are correct that, right, he is largely doing anti-elite stuff, but also he's fairly indiscriminate about how he treats people, right? I am inclined to think that his opening of charities and almsgiving is very much a show to prove how virtuous and Christian he is, in order to increase his reputation, in order to attract new people to scam. He's very much in favor of enriching himself, and he freely runs around Europe abandoning the cults he establishes in order to keep doing that most effectively. So, I mean, yes, he does end up right, PR stunts do real good, but it still is PR stunts. But yes, right, let me just highlight this one, because it's like, when they're just calling them, right, the plebeians, the rabble, the masses, whatever. Even though, right, the summoning of the Estates General, is quite something, And the historical Louis XVI, right? The historical Louis XVI positions himself as a friend to the plebeians in the summoning of the Estates General. So, it's only later that it becomes a hardline stance of this, like, hardline dehumanizing. And the game thinks this is bad, right? The game thinks this is bad. Historical argument number 2. Nope. I can type Marie Antoinette. Was relatively innocent of the things that she was accused of, right? So what's our evidence for this? 1, she is our owner slash create or mission sender slash something. That's honestly most of it. A very small detail is her portrait appears in quite a few places. We are able to persuade Mirabeau we're a friend by mentioning the Queen. Right, we're gonna put a question mark on this one because there's lots of time left. Right, there's lots of time left for us to realize that this is not true, but this seems to be what the argument is suggesting at this stage in the game. Argument 3. The French Revolution was a horrible, psychologically devastating loss of life. The robots don't help. But in world design we have loads of bodies. All non-major NPCs are absolutely traumatized by the violence and lack very basic necessities. Let's see. Zoe, thank you for the 6 months of Prime subscription. Thank you so much. All non-major NPCs are absolutely traumatized by the violence and lack very basic necessities. Several major NPCs are traumatized by the violence. City architecture is totally blasted, described as ruins. Perfect. Right. So, argument 1 and argument 3 I think are the two most interesting arguments I'm going to describe here, because, you know, they are saying it is simultaneously true that it is virtuous in goals and led by well-intentioned people, and also that it is just obliterated. Right? Argument 4 is, I think, elite culture in the late 18th century was obsessed with mechanization and occultism. Right, this is almost a statement rather than an argument, but if you don't know anything about 18th century history, right, this seems to be what it is, right? Cagliostro is the Cagliostro Vaucanson, Lavoisier, and Bailly are extremely elite in the king's confidence. Research notes mention anima as a valid research topic. I think those are kind of the big ones. I guess, we exist. Well, Marie Antoinette is disturbed by us. We are a valid gift to give the Queen. Hail Hydrate. Well, Zoe, I'm out of drink, so I'll be back in a moment to fulfill that. Thank you for keeping me healthy. Right. Yeah, I think those sort of elaborate, those kind of work, and right, this we know is a true statement, right? This is we know this is a true statement, we've talked about it in this stream, but the game itself provides significant evidence in favor of that argument, right? So all of these end up, I think these are the big four historical arguments the game is making, and this one is the core of why its alt history works, right? Argument 4 is at the very core of why the game functions. Because if it was just, what if robots, then, you know, it still is fun, it still is fine, but there's no reason to really be like, oh, well, let's think about this. But because it is actually based in something very real, namely that there are these incredibly elaborate automata being produced, at the same time as there is this massive occultism into the nature of the soul, well, it's basically right using those two threads and turning those dials up and saying, well, this might be what happens. This would be one possible outcome of what horrible things happen from that. And that's really cool. Right? That's a really fun way to do it, because it's identifying cultural historical trends and then ramping that into political events. And that's cool. I like that. So, this has been our design diatribe, my friends. Hopefully, Wolfie and Stefan, hopefully that resolves, sufficiently answers those questions, satiates that curiosity, and with that, let's turn back into the game. Buttons and buttons and buttons. Hooray! Oh, historical argument number 5. Fashion rising. I think that argument is sufficiently obvious and persuasive to need no further elaboration. No. Ow. God. What an incredibly fun. Ow. Well, that did not work. It also did not work. That did. God, these guys' faces distress me. Do enemy attacks hit other enemies? Yes, they do. Also, I love how our character moves. Right, our character clearly starts as a dancer. We found exactly one dancer's remnant in Vaucanson's workshop, but that does hint at our origins as a dancer created for his daughter. And that's pretty cool. That just lets us do a lot. Yeah. So we move like, well, we are a ballet dancer. And that's very cool. It's just so fun. Heck, another public garden. My nemesis, public gardens. Ow. Ow. My nemesis, public gardens. What is their torso made of? We could actually design our own. Right, we can alter their arms and legs in character creation. Obviously, there is, right now, our torso is, presumably clockwork with some kind of porcelain plating, but, mostly, I believe our torso is fashion. Our torso is currently pure fashion. Ow. There we are. Success. Oh. You meant what's the look of the robot Piper that killed us? Blue. His torso is enameled blue, but past that, I'm not sure. Also, he's not a piper, he's a violinist. He's got an organ for a face and a violin for a weapon. Incredible vibes. My god. Ready for violins. Boo. Can we get a Merry Cringe for puns? Ow. Ow. KJ, you don't get to Merry Cringe after making the pun violence on TV. You lose the right to Merry Cringe that. I forbid it. I make the rules around here. That's verboten. Let me in. Let me in. Aw. Boop. What the heck? What the heck is your problem? Alright, Rat, you too lose the right with the pun Saxon violins, as shown on TV. Those darn youths ruining everything. Despicable is what it is. At this rate, no one's going to be left to make to cringe the other puns. Tragic. Alright, so I could run up that way. Could attack that thing. I want to run this way and see if I can beat up this one guy. That seems safest. That went well. That went smoothly. And we open up this very nice gate. And we're back in here. God. I mean, I know this takes place over a single night so far. I do wish it would get on towards day. I definitely wish we'd get on a little bit more towards day. That would seem nice right now. But for it being night, it is a beautiful, beautiful night. Don't turn around. Damn it. Why did you have to turn around? Now you're gonna murder me with your violent violins. There we go. Oh no, friends, I don't trust it. Oh no. I keep forgetting that that is a wind up to an attack. You tiny... exactly. Why does the snake have a tiny face? It's such a good character design. Such an incredibly evocative character design. Even though the thing that's being evoked is hell. It's a good emotion. And if you can nail that emotion, you should stick with it. I mean, because like, I wouldn't call this game a horror game. The things that are happening are horrific, but horrific and horror are not the same sentence. Well, hello. What are you doing here? Why are you doing here? This is a strange place for you to be. Like, I had assumed that I was not close to the next thing. Whatever is going on there. I had assumed it was not... not where I was supposed to go.
No, please, heaven help me.
What? Senor.
You are wrong about my intentions.
Get back. You were only given the power of speech to better deceive your victims.
No. Nope.
I come in peace, monsieur.
What do you want from me, Alapin?
What happened to those who died in this square?
What you see is the entire court of the Comte de Provence lying there. I am the only survivor.
Well, that's not good.
The Comte de Provence. Has he fallen as well?
No. The scoundrel deceived us. He left the palace without telling us. When it was our turn to flee, it was already too late. The adventure ended here, on the steps of the theater. At the hands of this monstrous creature who spits fire, ice, and lightning. The most courageous tried to fight back, but they met with the same fate as the others.
Okay.
Does this creature have no weakness?
Come on, give us our hints.
I would imagine. We did manage to land a few blows when it was dragged down by the weight of its enormous mortar, but it was all in vain. My only advice to you is to escape while you still can.
Well, thank you, monsieur. we will unlock that, which has dubious benefits, but technically exists. Another plot? What's the plot doing here? Kurabashi! Thank you. Oh good, we get to see Cagliostro at work. Yeah, hypnotize someone. And then lock them in a box. Well yeah, hypnosis is a standard part of what he calls the Egyptian rites. There's a couple cases where he would do this, where he would hypnotize someone. Right, he would hypnotize, or he would appear to hypnotize someone, usually a young girl. Young relatively, I think usually a teenager. And then people would be able to ask her questions and she would provide answers and predict stuff and etc. You know, the usual. It's so Egyptian, I just can't handle it. Why the Egyptian arts? Because this is the period where Egypt is coming to be seen as the center of the, or as sort of the origin of civilization. Right? People are only just starting to understand exactly how old Egypt is in this period. Right? Obviously, they've been known for a while, and the fact that they've been around for functionally forever, according to the timescale of most cultures, was known. But what wasn't as known is how that kind of intersects with historical culture and all that jazz. So, yeah, it gets labeled as being... Ooh, I love that door. It would continue to be true for like another 150 years after this point. It gets labeled as the origin point for anything you want to be civilized, but in an ancient way. Right? If you want something to have a very long pedigree and be part of the original roots of civilization, and you don't want it to be Hebrew, it's Egyptian. And so, right, remember, this is still the generation of Napoleon. Even though he is, you know, the next person to take charge, he still is, theoretically, in many ways, of this generation. And what's one of the first things he does? Conquer Egypt. And then look at the pyramids and go, wow, they're really old. Like, they're really old, y'all. Yeah, that interest didn't come out of a vacuum. He didn't do that for funsies. He did that in a very specific thing of projecting power and projecting ancient legitimacy upon France. Rather upon his France. Not quite there yet, not quite there yet. I am there though. Beautiful. I could buy another one. Yeah, I should do that. I should go boutique, purchase, materials, another one, upgrades, weapons, foil and dagger, level 3. There we go. Amazing. Amazing. Also denying British resources in Egypt, but you know, the realpolitik explanation, while very real and valid, also does not negate the awe or the also desire to argue about who is the most original civilization. Here lie those who are loyal to the Comte de Provence, courtiers and servants, all victims of the king's treachery. Yesterday divided by birth, today they are equal in death. You whom fortune has brought to this place, pray for the salvation of their innocent souls and curse the one who delivered them. Well, yeah. I'm glad the robot moved on, and the soul survivor appears to not actually be the soul survivor, because someone else collected and laid out the dead. And oh boy. Oh boy, was that rough. It's easy to miss that, to just kind of be like running around, being like, oh look at how pretty the skybox is. And miss that, but oh boy. Oh boy, that was a lot. Ow. I don't know what your whole gig is. Your gig might just be that you suck, TBH. Okay, well, that was fun, except for one teeny tiny, itty bitty, microscopic problem. I still can't get through there. I have a feeling I will be about to be able to get through there. But, Stefan, I would label that as environmental storytelling TM. And what I mean by that is, right, you don't, even if it makes some logical sense for people to be behaving in some way other than how they actually do, you don't necessarily want that to happen. In fact, there's often potentially very good reasons why you don't want it to happen. Because if you are too far disconnecting the thing from its relevant reference, right, okay, yeah, people showed up, they embalmed the bodies, they covered them up, and then they transport all their gear out. Like, you're not left with any hints as a player as to what the heck happened here besides, wow, there are bodies. Are they embalmed? I don't know. Is there anything going on here? I don't know. Do we know anything about who did that work? Not really. So, you know, that's kind of an issue. Right? You can make some guesses, right, that the people who did this are at least somewhat equipped in understanding chemistry, right? That they at least had the resources and were prepared to do that embalming work. Which suggests also, right, that they are probably not aristocrats that are doing most of that work, because why would they know how to do embalming? That doesn't make sense. But right, ultimately, right, it's a tool of providing more visual interest on the ground, while also allowing us to elaborate on a detail of what might be going on in the parts of the story we are not seeing. So, alchemistry. Hooray. Now, where the heck am I supposed to go? Once again, I have reached the part of this late level where I have too many directions that I can walk, and no clue which one is the one I actually should walk. Hello, plot. Can you... Plot? Has anyone seen the plot? Hello? I'm looking for some plot. News wanted about plot. Is there a plot in these windows? No? No plot here? Is there any plot if I look up? That was what my problem was last time. I didn't look up. Gamers don't look up. Well, I was trying that. It didn't seem to work. And the plot is not down here, because down here is a door that I assume beating this boss. I assume beating this boss will give me a mortar that I can use to blast these open. That is my current working guess. There was a robot moving around through the other thing. Ha! You're someone used to plot being a euphemism, and so this makes it extra funny. Fair enough. There's no plot there. That still doesn't open. I need a tool to break this. So there's no plot down this way. But there is a robot down that way. And there are several robots down that way. It feels like I'm supposed to be able to cut through the building. Well, Barry Mike, you either yourself, I'm not going to help you out of that mess. That's entirely on you. Okay, I hear someone banging around. Who, where, and how do I kill you? Right? You all just heard someone walking around here, right? I mean that's just me. There's an enemy I have not killed yet. I must find it. Okay, I had in fact already gotten that one. But that is okay. Ow. No. Okay, that only mod really helped. It felt good. It gave me content. But I'm unsure it actually helped my case. I am very unsure of where the heck I'm supposed to be going right now. Chat, any guesses? Any suggestions as to where I'm supposed to go? Because this very nice door does not seem to be it. I did not see any other paths that looked promising or relevant. Towards the robot with the flaming hands? Well, that's where I came from, though. Right, that's the last place I was. I mean, I guess we can still poke around there and see if anything else has opened up. Like this guy. Ow. Right, this was a shortcut that I opened up. Because now I'm just here again. And while here is nice, this seems to be the wrong way. You haven't a clue. Well, thank you, Wolfie. Thank you for sticking around. You should absolutely get to bed. Well, hello. Ow. Jerk. So if it is not this way, and it is not that way, and it is not this way, because this way is completely overgrown, and it is not by all the dead people. It is not through these doors, because they do not open. And I have no way to get over that wall to break the game. It's not over these dead people, because they are dead. It's not through the random stretch of garden over here. Oh! I found it! I, in fact, just did not look up. Although in this case it was more I did not look over. But honestly, same difference. Hey look, who's ready for a boss fight? Oh, it is my least favorite sort of everything. Oh, I'm not gonna have a fun time with this. I'm not in the best shape. I got abs. Ow. You can sweep the leg. Ah heck, those do nothing. Sweet, I got enough impact to get the stagger off. Ow. No, don't. Do that. Alright, we're looking okay. Rolled. Absolutely dumpstered. Come on, get over here. Get out of the frosted area, please. Ow. Jerk. Now get out. Thank you. Boom. The sculpting on the torso piece is kind of dull making goals, you will not lie. I would say it's probably modeled on a Roman piece that they probably cast, that's probably made out of a cast of Greek calves.
It's a trap. How could I have been so naive? Cagliostro, that miscreant.
And then, right, you can make a mold of it, you can cast it, and then you can send it back.
You are free.
It is lovely.
Senor, Vaucanson's dancer. You're conscious too, and yet you're not one of the Count's creatures, n'est-ce pas?
I do not know, monsieur.
But how?
I don't know, could you give
Make
me...
haste. You must not
Can you give me
linger here.
things in order to upgrade my heals?
Refuge at the Cordelier Convent, just a stone's throw away from here. Its walls are said to be impenetrable. That's where the members of the Third Estate promised to meet if an abomination such as this were to occur.
Oh, great.
A refuge for patriots.
Oh, great.
Would you be so kind as to clear the way, madame?
En effet. That would be most prudent.
Oh, great.
Ah, you are a blessing. The convent is over there, up on the hill. I shall meet you there once the danger has passed.
Okay. The Alchemist's Ram. What do you know? It is exactly what we expected to find. Exactly. Ooh, an Ori Halchem ingot. Well, that's exciting. Wow. We just like drop kicked it. Incredible stuff, honestly. There's so much backtracking we'll need to do next time, because there's so many places we can go now. There are now that we have our what I assume are our 3 primary traversal tools, there's so many little shortcuts and sneaky bits that we can locate. Monsieur mon frère, we are delighted that you have kindly informed us of Monsieur de Voisier's request. Reply to him and straight away and offer to meet him in the secluded area. Once you have done, entrust the matter to the Conte Cagliostro, who has brought you this message. Then, if you value your life, leave the palace, the Palais de Luxembourg, as quickly as possible and seek refuge at Bournois. Do not worry, our affairs are going well, and our military triumph is assured.
The Cordelic convent is over there, up on the hill. Monsieur Lemonier's house is on this road, not far from here.
Indeed.
I could pay him a visit to learn more about the death of the poor Dauphin.
Indeed. Thank you for that, Aegis. I think that will, however, be a task for next time. Here is where we will leave off for the day. So, oops, ignore this. You see nothing of note. Woohoo! So, big thank you to all of our patrons listed here who make this possible. Big thanks as well for everyone who subscribed and followed during this stream. My apologies for the technical difficulties. I will look at getting those sorted out before next stream. See if we can get back onto a nicer camera so you can see me a little bit better. Anyway, you said you were going away, then you watched to the end. That's a good news, Riley. That's good news for me, maybe not for you. So, until next time, adieu, au revoir. And next time we'll be back in Czech. So, more languages, more stuff, more big history to look at. Anyway, this has been Steelrising. I hope you all have a good night.